One. Hey, Tom Levecki here with the latest edition of the New Theory podcast. This is a repeat guest, and the first time I had this Lorenzo on, I had met over a cigar in the city, had a great time, and he was doing some great things. And Lorenzo, before you say hello, I'm really interested to have this call with you or have this Zoom with you podcast, because when I met you, you were kind of working on, kind of revolutionizing and modernizing what it's to be an Italian American. B, you were traveling a shit ton. C, doing stuff in restaurants. And D, like really kind of raising, carrying the flag for the new generation of Italian Americans. Now, fast forward, right? Year and a half, 2 years. We're in a pandemic, can't travel. The restaurants been in are probably fucked. Tourism.
Who's going to Italy right now?
Exactly. Italy's in trouble. Our brother-in's in trouble over there. On top of it, culturally, don't get me wrong. I'm proud to be an Italian, proud to be Italian American. I know you are, but other stuff is kind of taking a front seat. We'll get to that in a second. And then lastly, it's just things are different. So Lorenzo, welcome to New Theory Podcast. How you doing today?
I love the intro. The intro is great.
Well, I mean, I not to put you on the spot or on the defensive. It's just like literally the world as we know it. Like, how
and honestly, Tom, that's why I called you. Yeah. Right? I called you for a reason.
Yeah.
And why is that? The world just needs leaders. Like in every facet and crevice of the world, it needs leaders.
I agree.
Whether you're a child or a grown man or whatever, or anywhere in between, it just needs leaders. So that's why I wanted to call you. Because there's a big discussion going around the Italian-American community regarding this Christopher Columbus statue.
Okay.
And I've always found myself as someone that's very approachable, can deliver a message in a very, like I said, approachable way.
Okay, hold on. So I want to preface this. So the backdrop of this, and let's call it what it is most of this recent animus towards Columbus. We're going to isolate this in a second, but the backdrop of this, obviously, and anybody who disagree with me can go to hell with George. What happened to George Floyd is just not acceptable by any stretch. And if anybody says otherwise, then they're just a bad person, right? So that happened, and then folks, not just black folks, white folks, everyone kind of just say, hey, let's reevaluate what's going on. You had some, peaceful protesters, non-peaceful. This is not the forum for that, but fine. That's kind of the backdrop there. Then you got to isolate more and say, well, wait a second. Who are the people that we're literally have on pedestals? We have generals from the South for the Civil War, which technically we're kind of traitors against the country. Let's call it what it is, right? At least, right? It is what it is. This is how I feel.
Yeah.
And we'll get to how you feel in a second. And then kind of re-examining what's going on, right? So now there was part of that, whether it was serendipitous or focused in on, was Christopher Columbus. So let's jump right in. And again, I want to really quick. I want to go ahead.
Do something, right? The purpose of this phone call is to push forward, be in a better position after this hour. I want to spread a message for why, to make this world a better place. Whether you agree or disagree with me, I want to make this world a better place. Okay.
So yes, I know you have a good heart, but first,
I am a decent human being, and that's what people need up front, in front of a video camera, a picture, a podium, however you want to call it, are just decent human beings that want to make this world better. New York is literally falling apart. Like buildings are falling down. It's like literally.
Well, let's. I wanna, and it's funny because I was thinking about you too, and I want to get to Christopher Columbus in a second, right?
Okay. I have a little itinerary too on my head.
Yeah, well, we'll get to it, I promise. And as long as it takes, I got some wine because you got the modern day Italian.
Yeah, no, I want to be very professional right now. There's no wine.
If I'm doing a podcast this late at night, I'm drinking some wine.
You enjoy, but I got some serious stuff that I want to talk about.
I take it as serious just with a little wine. All right. So the first part is, and I struggle with this, and I really do. And my first thing is, what responsibility, and this will kind of set the tone, I think, of the rest of the call. What responsibility does the Italian American community have to make obviously America a better place, other than raising children right, paying taxes, etc. But in terms of Black Lives Matter and African Americans and minorities, because we were the minority at one point. What responsibility do we have? Go.
Yeah, and I'm glad you asked that, because what Black Lives Matter movement is a lot of it's just education, right? Educating people on how obviously the past is the past, but now we're in this new future. How are we going to live this new future and educate people on how every culture feels about it too?
Okay.
And that's going to now with Christopher Columbus. That's my agenda.
We're going to get there. I want to know what responsibility. So, for example.
Okay, I knew what you're saying.
Hold on, Lorenzo. Aspetta. You want to position yourself, and I'm actually buying into it. You want to position yourself as a de facto leader of the Italian American community, and you have the right, you have the pedigree, you have the knowledge, the respect, and me as an elder, I am behind you. And I always say, I had the guy Sabina Corsier on. I had a few other Italians that I respect. So it kind of feels a new generation of Italian guys and gals that are carrying the flag for the Italian culture, right? Now, with that said, I'll get to Christopher Columbus in a second. What responsibility do we have as the Italian American community specifically to help out specifically African Americans and minorities in this country? Go.
I have a great response to that.
Okay.
I actually been doing over the past few weeks intentionally for the next however time period. Just shut your mouth and listen. Listen to what everyone's saying. The African American community, the white community, the Jewish community, the Chinese community, the Latino community. Just listen to their opinion and their points, because everything's so far and left and right now. That's only a small amount of people that are in that those ranges. Listen to everyone. Just listen. That's it. Listen.
No, I agree. But I want to pose a question a little bit more specifically. So, my opinion is this, and I'll be upfront, is we were able to acclimate easier into American society because we are white. Had to be Italian American. Our families came over, didn't have a command of the language. We were born, pushed for education, push to educate ourselves, whether we start a business, get a profession, whatever that is, right? And although in corporate, I used to get the Soprano comments or, anybody in the mafia and all that shit, but it wasn't systemically against me. And on top of it, it made us easier to acclimate, in my opinion, because of the color of our skin, because we could blend in. Right? We may have a vowel at the end of our name, but we can blend in. But if you're black, and that's what it takes to blend in easily, and that's kind of seems like the case for the last X amount of years, that's what the issue is. So what I'm saying is, what is our responsibility? And I feel like you have something to share with me. Give me the responsibility of the Italian American community to the black community. I need to dig deeper before we get into Columbus.
And just embrace them. Embrace them. Everything, as much as the history has never been so, quote unquote, equal, right? Try and act like it's equal. It's not that hard. Bring people in as your family. Open your door to whoever's in front of you. Yeah. If you're an old business owner, think about hiring an African American candidate. It's an open door, and leave it that way. Because I don't think anyone in the African American community wants to be better than a white person. They want to just be on an equal playing field.
Well, I'll give you what I was thinking in terms of what we can do, right?
Okay.
This
is what I mean about listening.
Yeah.
Because I want to hear what other people are so passionate about this that I'm sure that they're coming up with solutions that maybe I'm not thinking of or you're not thinking of. People are so passionate about this. It's all over the place, and it's much more.
Well, but here's the deal, though. I'm with you on the passion, but it's go time, right? And this is just my opinion.
And things need to happen, right? That's why we're here in this conversation.
Yeah,
just to talk about it.
I'll give you my perspective, and I want yours. If anybody cares, is is number one, we've as a community, for the most part, as I understand, at least the people that I know and people we grew up with, of course, there's some people that, go into the wrong life and stuff. But for the most part, most of the people that we grew up with, most of the people that we were around, grew up, in the Italian-American community with a certain culture, under the umbrella of the United States, and grew up to kind of be somewhat successful relative to their world, right? And again, I think it was easier because of the color of our skin. But aside for that, and supportive families and so forth, there's other reasons as well. But aside for that, now that we are acclimated or getting acclimated, I just think what we can do to help, because I wanted to hear what you had to say, but I want to now offer what I think we should do to help is, number one is, for example, be a little bit more conscious, right? Not as simple as like, hey, hiring somebody who's black. It's as simple as, if there's a great candidate for your business and they happen to be African-American, absolutely hire that person. And above and beyond that, the economic dollar, because let's cut through the shit. When you were black and trying to get loans for your mortgage or for your business as early as like 10 years ago, and even like recently, they used to redline. Imagine them putting a red marker through your neighborhood saying, if you're on the wrong side of this marker, you can't get a loan. So cash is king. So what I think we can do as an Italian-American community is work to support black-owned businesses, work to support black entrepreneurs, work to hire within that community. Because the truth is, if we're in business, they represent 13% of the population, which is not a small number. So even as a business person, it makes sense to have diversity because you're selling into the diversity. That's just like my kind of micro solution. So I know you have some ideas as well, but okay. So aside for what the Italian American community can do, what does Christopher Columbus mean to you? And should he still be on the pedestal throughout the country? Go.
So I'm going to start by just making a fact about just Christopher Columbus and why these statues were even put up in the first place.
Okay.
Right? Because you got to think, they put these things up years and years ago. And why was it put up? What was the reason that it's there? Okay?
Yeah.
And it's so ironic as we're going through this Black Lives Matter whole period right now and what's going on. But that statue was put up because Italians were being discriminated. They were looked at as below as white people at that time in history. And history is brutal. History is a nasty thing. So it's not just Christopher Columbus that's a problem. There's so much of history that's just like terrible stuff happened. And back then, Christopher Columbus was looked at as a good person. Like that was just like people are looked at good today. In 100 years from now, they might not be looked at as good. Like you never know.
Yeah.
So back then it was looked at as a good thing. And Italians put that up as a symbol of moving past the discrimination that was placed against them during those times. That was a good symbolized statue. So I don't need to go into crazy detail. How I feel about it is, if you're going to take down something, and honestly, I totally understand why people want to take it down.
Why do you think they do?
Well, for what, obviously, the history, like ravaging through lands. Christopher Columbus was a crusader that came in and just took over people's lives. I get it, and I understand, and they have every right to be upset over it. But looking for what the statue went up for, and now use this as an opportunity for good, because you're taking something technically bad, right, like from society purposes, and use it as an opportunity to put something that symbolizes something good. So what I want to say is, fine, take it down. But don't you dare take that thing down without replacing it. And replacing it with something that symbolizes something good that we can look at and be proud of when we put it up. And as an Italian American, that stood for our, that's like our Black Lives Matter. And people might not see it that way. Yeah. People might not see it that way, but that's the truth, because that's what it stood for back when it was put up. So,
well, yeah. I'm not, all right. So a little bit of unpack here. So, all right, here's my take. I want to acknowledge what you're saying. What you're saying is not wrong. You're not saying like, it's insane, and, I gotta fight. And if you take it down, that's un-American. I actually say, if I'm going to take it down, at least acknowledge why it's there, which in your opinion is there to represent Italian Americans. And if some reason, if you're going to take that down, if that's what it represents, then it should be replaced with something else. I don't disagree with that. However, to me, is Columbus was a mercenary hired by the Spanish, right? So it's not even like he was doing it on behalf of Italy. Was not modern day Italy was not formed until 1860s-ish. I think 1865, I think. So modern day Italy was not even near incorporated yet, and it wasn't even flying. It wasn't even He wasn't even there on behalf of actual the Italy of that time. So whatever Italy was.
So Christopher Columbus was like the best.
Correct.
Like crusader, right? He was
the best maritime guy for the time, right?
So
correct. But what I'm
basically his services.
Correct. But what I'm saying is Italy didn't have the juice and they didn't have the finances, they didn't have the resources. Like post-Roman Empire, got kicked in the teeth, still in the Dark Ages, post-Dark Ages, and Spain was like U.S. now, a superpower. So they basically hired him to say, go increase our interests, right? So what I'm getting at is part one is he was a hired gun on behalf of a Spanish colony, which although I respect Spain, I love Spain, it's a great country, it's a beautiful country, I've been there, is as an Italian American, I don't have any allegiance to that country other than respecting it. So right off the bat, he was there flying under the flag as a mercenary. So not passionate, not like, hey, doing it for $1, right? So that's part one, right? Part two is he landed in like the Bahamas or wherever, Haiti or wherever the hell he is now. He didn't set foot on our current soil, right? Number three is, I gotta be honest, there's so much shit going on that 20 years ago, and you're a young guy, but 20 years ago, I probably wouldn't be as heated about defending the Italian American culture, because almost like a kid, when somebody calls your mom ugly, it's like, my mom's not ugly, your mom's ugly. And like, you're really defending yourself and your ego, not your mom, right? So like I probably would have super defended this, but I'm not going to die on this hill as an Italian American. I'll be honest. It's not, and it's not due to lack of passion. It's not due to lack of knowledge. I just think we have bigger fish to fry, to be honest, Lorenzo.
We can go on and on about who Christopher Columbus is, this and that, and the third. The fact is that, like I said, I want to take this as an opportunity, because my motives aren't just Christopher Columbus. My motives are to do more for this world that we're in. And it starts with just putting a positive message. I don't care what the end of the story is. People don't like Christopher Columbus. That's fine. I'm all opposed. I'm not opposed at all to getting rid of it. But use it as an opportunity to do something positive.
So let's move to modern day. I want to put you on the spot. How did Cuomo handle COVID, in your opinion?
I thought that his response was great. I mean, like, I don't think people can really argue the fact that he was a leader during this situation.
Yeah. I personally, I was.
It was Cuomo time. I was like ready to watch him, And every time
I felt he showed leadership. I felt he did a good job. He made some hard decisions. He made some unpopular decisions. I still need to understand what happened in the nursing homes, because I don't trust the media. That's why I have a podcast. I don't edit. We're gonna go straight to tape, and I don't trust the media. So I don't know if they were sending people back to nursing homes who had it and they infected others, and the death rate is much higher, or what happened. But I feel he did a good job. However, the numbers are like exponentially higher on the death rates in New Jersey, in New York, and I'm willing to wait till they do a retro-analysis, epidemiologists or whoever come around and say, hey, this is exactly why. So to me, the jury's still out, because we did have a much higher death rate, and I don't know if that needed to be the case, right? Because there's so many more cases now.
At the end of the day, we were dealing with something you can never – there's no – 100 years ago was the last time something like this happened.
Correct.
So, mistakes were going to be made along the way, and all I could say is, like, my take on it is hopefully learning from this now. If it's something actually really interesting is President Bush was planned for something like this to happen. He actually, the agenda that we use and the structure that we use to response to COVID came from some investments that President Bush did. That needs to just be like better put together now. God, when something like this happens again, at the end of the day, you can't protect everyone.
Well, you
could
can't.
They done it better, probably. Yeah, could they? Yeah, but it isn't that case.
Correct. Well, you can't blame Cuomo on lack of PPE, lack of resources. He got the federal resources on board. So again, I'm in agreement with all that. I'm just concerned about some of the policies that were rolled out on. Again, I'm just giving you what I've filtered from the media.
No, I like this. I honestly like debate it because, like I said, the purpose of it all is I want to push forward. So if there's anything that I would like help from on your end, like doing this, is how to get in touch with these political, people in positions where they can say, no, that statue's not going to come down because we're going to put this instead of it. Or like, we're going to put a message to promote something positive using this as using it as a statement, as an example. And like, that's what I want to see happen. I want to see an example. Like, that's what I want to see.
Well, one of the things that, like I said, I brought up earlier with you is you had a whole bunch of shit going on. And frankly, and stop me if I'm wrong, my cat's jumping in the way. Frankly, things were good for you, and hopefully they still are. But things were super good for you. You had you were building a brand.
Yeah.
It was purposeful. Literally, my cat is right here, Sandy.
We got the tape.
Yeah, but each of the different areas that you were kind of focusing on. That you were focusing on got slammed, unilaterally. Each bucket got crushed, got kicked in the teeth. Give me how you handled COVID. What did you do? How did you handle it? How did things pan out for you? What are you doing now? Because I want to get a feel for what you're doing.
I was actually super fortunate during this time. Even though I did.
Wait.
Okay, I got you.
Hold on.
Got another Zoom call. You like
the cat hits. Sandy the cat hit something, and keep going. Continue. Give it a second back, and continue going live to tape on this one.
Yeah.
Sandy, don't hit the keyboard, please. All right, keep going.
I was saying I was super fortunate because, even though I was doing a lot of stuff with food and, obviously this Italian and traveling and all this, I went to school for accounting. I'm a CPA. So I've really been focusing on that and helping out a lot of people and businesses throughout this time where everything's so uncertain. Like getting these loans, I can't tell you how many businesses I've helped get the loans for. And,
right?
Yeah, and it's just been an incredible time from I thought I was going to end tax season. I was doing tax season. I was going to end it, and I wanted to go to Italy or do something after that. Like I was planning on doing olive oil in the next couple months with the family over there. And obviously that's not happening. My dual citizenship is in though.
Cool. Congratulations.
3 years for an appointment. That's all.
It takes a minute to get, I know.
And
So hold on. So keep it simple. You had, a show that was growing, your brand that was growing, jewelry line. I know you were working on importation of olive oil and stuff. Working with some restaurants, kind of social media manager, and you're multiple on the hook.
I'm getting back into it again.
So what you did on your end was double down, the hedgehog concept. I'm an accountant. Let me just shut the shell, work on accounting, keep my living going, help people out, and then once the smoke clears, then raise and then keep going. That's essentially is what you did, correct?
In a way, yes. I had always little projects going on personally and whatnot, but in a way, I focused on that, and I've been working with a lot of businesses from a financial end. So that's I got my buddy, one of my friends has a business that's growing incredibly down in Puerto Rico, and I've been helping him out a lot. So now that things are kind of opening up again, I've made it a goal. Again, my goal was April. During the winter time, it was kind of cold, whatever. April, I was really going to ramp up again. And obviously, COVID hit. So now we're in August. And I'm going to be spending the month of August in Federal Hill, Rhode Island.
Nice.
A little Italian street.
Enclave, Federal Hill, that's right.
It's an unbelievable street that a lot of people don't know about, and I think it's one of the best Italian blocks in the country.
I agree. Big fan of Federal.
There for the month of August, working with a couple different places. I'm gonna try and get on the weekends to get to Newport a little bit, maybe do a few things by the water.
Go by Boston, the North End, absolutely.
And
no, but I'm with you, right? I'm with you. So, but I want to get to the good shit, okay? So you got a bug for politics? Talk to me.
Yeah, man. Honestly, so like after all this, I'm starting to get into this a little bit, like you said, this political type of I honestly call it like a responsibility, because I want to just do better stuff for this world. Like I got to use what I've done. I've been good with this platform. I've been good at talking to people and delivering this Italian cultural message.
Yeah.
A bridge between Italy and United States. So.
Yeah, but hold on. But and I love it. Love your stuff. But like spinning handmade mozzarella and making policy are two different beasts. So are you looking to run for local office in Long Island as high as Congress, or are you looking to do something to bridge the gap with New York, United States and Italy? What are you looking to do? Because I want to get an understanding here.
Yeah, for sure. So my end goal is I want to be the mayor of my town in Italy.
Oh, so you want to go to politics over there, not here?
Not right now. I got to prove myself over here and fix the United States and New York before I go over there.
What town?
They got more problems over there, so we're gonna fix over here.
What town are you in Long Island?
I'm in Comac.
Okay, so I in New Jersey am very fortunate to have family to run at local and county government. In New Jersey, they have freeholders, and there's county government. Brother-in-law's like into that. My sister was into politics. Have family in politics. So I think the first step should be is you should find your district person.
That's where my head's at.
And then either if you agree with their policies and you agree with them, part of the same party, instead of taking them on, maybe you can work with them. Sorry, you could work with them and try to get some local stuff cooking. Do you know who your local representative is? You don't have to say names, but do you know who they are?
So I was just on the website. I got to get some information on because I know the elections are coming up soon, and I want to see some of these people. And you're right. That's the best way to do it in my eyes, is to go in the local districts first.
Yeah.
And test the water. See how I like it. See if I'm good. See if people listen to me. See if I'm doing the right thing.
But I love you to death, and you're a nice guy, but shit gets real. What do you say if somebody says, if you support Christopher Columbus, you are racist? What's your answer to that?
I'm not racist. I don't know what more to tell you.
I didn't say you are racist. I'm saying if somebody supports Christopher Columbus, that is racist.
I don't support Christopher Columbus. I'm telling you to take the thing down.
Okay.
I'm on your side here, right? So I'm okay with you taking this thing down, but I'm not okay with taking it down and leaving it empty. I'm not okay with that. That's where I draw my line and my boundary sits.
Okay.
So I'm not a difficult person to get along with. I'm not Republican, Democrat, this or that. Make the freaking decision. Let's get something going that's good and trim the fat. That's what New York needs to do, is trim the fat like a restaurant. It's handled like a business, like a restaurant. Trim the fat, and you're going to get millions and millions of dollars that you could use for productive purposes. And they need to be used for a productive purpose.
Okay, if Biden wins, what does America look like?
I think America's I think it'll calm down a bit, to be honest. It'll calm down.
I need a little bit more than that.
Well, I think, like I said, I coined a good word when Trump won. I was Trump positive.
Okay.
Right. I always just said, okay, like obviously he's a little eclectic, but just be positive about it. Like,
Did you vote for Trump at 16?
I voted for Trump.
Okay.
And
you don't have to defend that to me, because I believe freedom of speech, number one, and number two, freedom to vote. So If you decide to vote for Trump and you put him in office, I may or may not agree with you, but that's your prerogative.
And like I said, I think that I was Trump positive. Trump, The Art of the Deal was one of the first books I ever read.
100%, me too.
High school. Okay, yeah. So I was like on Trump and like the real estate thing because I was into that early. So I looked at it as a positive thing, businessman type of mentality coming into into politics. I thought it was a good change up. Obviously he runs his mouth a little too much. This is my personal opinion. I think he could be, but he also gets pushed and poked a lot more than I think he should be.
Correct.
And I think it's just almost like become like the Incredible Hulk at this point, where now like it just can't be stopped. So I think that personally, if the election was today, I think Biden would win.
Okay, so you voted for Trump, and I appreciate it because you could have been like it's none of your business, or you could have like hedged a little bit. But I appreciate the fact that you said, "Hey, I voted for Trump at 16." Who are you? Because you are somewhat of a public figure. Who are you supporting in November?
I haven't made the decision yet because I feel like we need more, right? I think Trump started off with the coronavirus. I thought he started off all right, like dealing with it.
Yeah.
I think of late, I think he's just been a little quiet. I think there's room for leadership in the country right now. So I kind of want to see how that response is. Like, is he doing it because his ego just wants to win? Because I think that's what's going to happen. I think he's kind of over it. I think he's just enough. I don't know. That's what I see, the vibe I get.
Okay.
And I don't think Biden is as bad as people think. Like, people say that he's too old and he's like getting caught up on speeches and whatnot. I've actually been watching on YouTube just videos of him speaking recently, and it hasn't been bad. Like, it's not bad.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, because I don't have an answer for this. I got to give a joke if you want, but Italian Americans, in your opinion, which way do they sway politically? In your opinion,
more towards Republican side.
Okay, I agree. However, our background is unions and working class, blue collar. And that historically has been a blue thing. And I kind of feel like, as Italians become more successful and they have more to protect, that's when I think they become conservative and Republican. If you're super Catholic and let's say you're pro-life and maybe anti-gay, if you will, in some cases, they also may be red state as well. But my family, I'm a little more center, but I'm center left. So my family is all Democrats for the most part, and I don't disagree with them. But I respect people's opinion. So I want to go a little deeper, Lorenzo, because I kind of feel like we're leaving something on the table as an Italian American community. Not that we made it, right? Like, we have a president.
I have my opinion.
Yeah, please go.
So, if you look historically,
okay, when
the Italians came over, their goal was to assimilate to the culture. You remember, like, I know people have heard it where, oh, my grandmother didn't teach me the language.
Yeah,
the language was lost.
Yeah.
Because Italian people came over with the agenda, I want to assimilate to being white, right? And they were discriminated. They were, at one point, they were the fourth or something on the list of pay scale. Like, they legitimately were discriminated against.
Yeah, I agree.
To this day, you talk to a waspy white person, Italians are below them. So don't get it twisted here. Like, we might not be like, I know it's not considered you want to say an African American community. We're not there. But don't get it twisted that we're all the way on the top either. And honestly, you got to clap your hands to a lot of the Italian people because they came here and did work really hard. And I think personally have paved the way for the Latin community to be as powerful as they are. I think we were really that first, almost like the Latin community. If you look at how communities have transformed over the years, a lot of, like, for example, Westbury, where I come from in Long Island, went from being a predominantly Italian neighborhood to a predominantly Latino neighborhood. And they're starting to do the jobs that my grandfather did. And we've literally paved the way for them, and the recipe is there for them to be successful. And you're seeing it more and more as like the generations are passing.
Well, so hold on. So one is, and I'm learning as a host. I'm in for like north of 250 interviews, and I'm coming from two sides. One is somebody gives their opinion, respect it, that's their opinion, and the other one is like the show should have a theme. I don't want to beat you up, but like the fact that there is a scale where somebody waspy says, "Well, Italian Americans are below us,"
and
like that's the issue.
No. That's the issue. I agree with you.
No, and I'm going to say this right now. There's an issue with you kind of teeing that up, and there's a fucking issue with me understanding that. Like, you get that, right? Like,
that is the problem.
Fucking issue with that.
That is the problem in today. So in listening, right, over the last few weeks and listening to everyone talk about this, no matter what race, that's the problem. It's and I've heard it the vice versa. Like I said, you know, it's really nice what Jordan Brand is doing. They put $100 million on the side to invest into Black initiatives.
Yeah.
So then a guy from Ireland, right, and like European Irish, said, you know, well, that's also now being, you could argue that's like, now you're including just dollars that go only to the Black community. So that, like, that's in itself also like they're being segregated in a way, like it's only to them. So you got, but you're right. I agree with you. That's the problem. So
well, I want to understand because I feel like you have the right motives, right? Mm-hmm. And I also feel like that you're representing an ideology of, you know, goodness, come from a good place. You're a millennial. I know you pretty well. You have a good heart.
Well, how would you explain that differently to basically for someone, I guess, in the right way, the quote unquote right way?
Explain what exactly?
You were saying, like, because you said that scale, right, where that's.
Well, I mean, the fact that, how would I explain that? Well, the truth of the matter is, it's something that, you know, and again, like it comes from, and some people are not going to like this, and I told you, I'm like in the center, so I'm like left center, if you will. But to me personally, I have like my business beliefs. I consider myself a pro-business Democrat. My like business beliefs are on the right. You know, pro-business, laissez-faire, small government, no taxes, and then my social beliefs are a little more consistent with Democrats. However, I'm finding out as I get older, I'm probably more libertarian. I'm more like, you know, fuck this. Don't tell me what to do. You know, in the Second Amendment, I think people have the right to bear arms, right? It's in the Constitution. I think the Constitution will, if you get really to it, will help the African Americans. Hawk Newsom, who is the founder of Black Lives Matters out of New York, was on Candace Owens' show. She's a right winger, and I like her as well. And like some of her stuff he's like, the Constitution could be the best friend of the African American community, and I agree with that. But the true following and forbearance, not forbearance, but what's the word? Enforcement, if you will, of the Constitution. And I think that this dialogue has to happen with our community, with Italian Americans, and then we got to do something about it as a community. Who are some of the people that you follow? Because I'm, because of COVID, I kind of got super deep into politics again. I got super deep into watching a certain few, and I can give you my opinion on each if you want, and who I've been watching and reading about. But who are some of the folks that you follow online that you draw inspiration from?
So really, what I've been watching, in its entirety, is I've been watching the stock news. I've been watching business news.
CNBC, Bloomberg.
So I'm watching a lot of CNBC, and I just leave it on and I listen to the stock news. I want to hear what companies are talking about. I want to know what the CEOs are doing. I want to know what the numbers are in terms of like where businesses are and how they performed, because the dollar doesn't lie. Yeah. You know, the amount of money that gets transferred to whatever businesses, you're not lying about that number that's on there, the public company. No. You know, so that's what I've been watching, because I feel like social media, you get everyone's opinion. You know, the political news are swayed one way or the other. To be honest, like I've watched like some like of Trump's, presidential, briefings. And to be honest, like I don't feel like I get much out of any of these briefings for the most part. I want to see numbers.
Yeah.
That's why I liked Cuomo's right in the beginning. He went over the chart, and every day was the same chart.
And that resonated. Okay.
This is what's going on. Like, let me see where we're at.
But I want to understand though. So here's 2016. Hey, you voted for Trump, right? That's your right as an American. And then it seems like, when did you? Because you're not like 100% on Trump now, right? It's less than 100 days away. Where exactly did he pause your vote, or maybe push you the other way? Because I think
almost immediately with the Twitter stuff, right? I found that it was just so much noise.
Yeah.
Like nothing like productive. What I'd like to see is you going up on the stage, no matter who it is. I don't really care at this point. I want to go up. Yeah. This is what I want, is to go up on stage and talk about what the heck is going on and what's being done about it. That's it. I don't care about what Obama did. I don't care about when Biden goes up there. I don't want to hear about Trump. Like, I don't want to hear about Trump because then that's going to piss me off. I want to hear about what's being done. Where's it taking us? Basta.
Okay. But here's the thing, though. Now, I'm with you, and I believe a lot of what you say. I want to walk away from this interview with your core beliefs and core ideologies. If you okay with taking on Christopher Columbus, and he's not representative of the Italian American community, who would you put in their place?
Honestly, I don't know what I would put in place.
Okay.
But my value is it needs to have a positive message.
Okay.
The positive message. Positive messages. So positivity is a value of mine. Okay. One thing that's super important that anything I talk about, I want this to come up, is budget. Budget. You will hear about me dollars. How much has been saved, what it's been used for. Where's the money going? Because the money doesn't lie. People can say what the hell they want to say, but when you see X amount of dollars moved from this to that shows something. Because then you can say, where did that money go? And you can pinpoint it. It's very easy.
Okay, then I'm with you. But so here's the thing, though. So you're a smart guy, right? And I'm assuming like PPP, you help with that. I'm assuming you're probably crazy busy. Was your tax season July essentially, right? Was your new tax? So you've got. Now, were you on your own or did you work with somebody?
Both.
And are you CPA?
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay. So why not stay in your lane and have a YouTube channel on best tax advice, best small business advice, and be whacking people over the head with your fees and make a few bucks? What I love you to death. Hold on. I'm giving you a compliment here. Yeah. And I've always worked with you a little. Whenever I met with you personally, professionally, it was never about making money with you, which is strange coming from an accountant. So what's your end game? I want to get a little better. Aside from being mayor of the two-horse town, what's your end game here?
My end game, I want to leave this world in a better place. It's all about taking care of my family. That's been like, it's number one. And I want to just serve the community. I've always been great as a serviceman, right, with the restaurant and serving people. Like that's just something that's always sits good in my heart, and that's what I want to do. Like I think I'm on this planet to serve others. That's what fulfills me. So like an end game, I want to be a no. I want to have a family. That's what my end game is. I want to have a beautiful family and raise them the right way. That's what's going to make my heart. Money will come.
Who are some people, whether known or not, that you look up to?
One I always looked up to prior to was the Anthony Bourdain thing, right? That was always something.
Yeah, that was your guy. Yeah, that was your guy.
For a while, right?
We actually did an article on you, obviously prior to him passing, and it was is this the next Anthony Bourdain? And that article did, I don't know if you remember, it went, kind of went mini viral for a minute because, you had, at that time you were super promoting your stuff, and it even in Google, if you Google the next Anthony Bourdain, because a lot happened with him since, because we had the stats on it, like for a while, like you were kind of positioning yourself as that. Why did you pivot away from that? Except for COVID, like you kind of pivoted away from that. Why is that?
The travel thing, I was going to do a show.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to do.
You had the sizzle done. You had that one kid who's amazing. I think you had like the funding. Like you were like, it was like, I remember you were like, hey, close.
I was involved. Honestly, I once Anthony Bourdain passed away, and I had this like super focused goal and driven to be this figure. I started to lose my fire on it, and that's, when you lose that passion and that motive in your heart to do something, things just it becomes work, right? And it's never about that. It's all about, for me, it's always about what's your heart in it. And when your heart's in something, you perform unbelievably. So like, I lost a little bit of that heart for it. It wasn't my goal anymore. I felt like I accomplished what I needed to accomplish out of it. And now I wanted to be bigger than just this Italian-American figure that talks about food and going to Italy. Like, I'm much more than that.
And that's where the kind of the political leaning comes in.
Yeah. And they're doing like the financial stuff. And now I'm starting to expand to be bigger than just, here's some really nice restaurant to go to. Because now I like cooking more. I've cooked more now than I did when I was running around Italy looking at the pasta factories and making olive oil. I'm cooking more now than when I was doing that. Yeah. I can cook you a better dish now than when I was running around all over the world.
Yeah, but my only thing though is, and I tend to stick with things longer than I should. And I think that in the past that has hurt me, versus I think millennials like pivot, like just to pivot, not knocking you, but just to pivot like one day I'm doing this and one day I'm doing that and one day, and that guy got to pivot, but fucking every week. What's stopping you from pivoting next year? We're on the podcast. I'm going back to restaurants and fuck politics.
Even if I'm doing a restaurant, I want to get involved in the community. Okay. So whether my community is just my town or I'm running against AOC, like I want to help the community. So whether I go and open up a restaurant, because I'd be great at opening up a restaurant and everyone would love coming by. That doesn't stop me from being on my local board. Yeah. Help like promote the area.
Well, let me ask you this. I'm gonna tag this or title this: should the Italian American community support Christopher Columbus? So aside for the statue, should we rally behind Christopher Columbus at this time, or is it something it's not time to die on the hill? I want a direct answer. So if people are watching this fucking long, I always say they're either family or they're obsessed with their guests. So if somebody's listening this long, give me the answer. Should we double down and be like, Italian American community needs to circle the wagons and be like, whoa, no. Now you're going after our guy, or is this not the time to die on the hill?
No, the Italian American should succeed to this, taking this thing down. Okay. But like I said,
I'm not even saying just a statue.
But do not back down from leaving that thing empty without showcasing the message that needs to be made by taking that thing down.
Okay.
That's where I stand.
All right. I'll buy into that. I want to give you, because I had very few repeat guests and you're one of them. And like I said, I had it on top of mind because I'd love, see, that was a good pivot where you had your education, you had your CPA, you had your day job, if you will. And it was just easier to go back to that. And you're so passionate about it, which I love. Because I remember even chatting to you back then. I'm like, what do you like? I was like, I don't know if you remember the cigar bar. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? Like, you're fucking killing it. Like, you do a tax return for $1,300 and pay some kid to do it for $15 on TurboTax. You sign off and call it a day. And you're like, no, listen, I'm actually legit passionate about this shit. That's what I loved about it. You went to the Bronx, Little Italy, which,
Don't get me wrong. I'm all about helping the Italian.
Yeah.
Like, I am all about it. All about it. Do I want to have a TV show running around the world?
Why not? Yeah.
Why not? But like, and it's honestly, it's all about timing. Okay, it's all about timing because I put everything I had into it, right? And I'll put everything I had into it again if that's what's the right thing to do.
All right, Lorenzo. I have an idea, and we're gonna give you your closing statement in a second. I have an idea. I want to give you 2 pieces of homework. You ready? Okay. Number 1, and this shouldn't be too hard, is I believe you that you want to do more and better for the community. And I'll do the same, and I'll own it too. I want you to do one thing that's meaningful for your local community, whether it be with African Americans or whether it be to your local community or whatever. Just one thing you say, hey, Tom, you know what? Here's what I committed to do. Here's what I did, and here's the result, right? So one thing to help the local community, and this could be kind of your foundation to run. And then second, here's what I want you to do, because I'm pretty passionate about this myself, is I'd like for you to gather, in your opinion, 2, 3, maybe even as many as 5 Italian-American young thought leaders that I want to invite in the podcast. And I want 5 windows. And I want to exchange ideas about how as an Italian-American community that we can make a difference to help other segments of our population that are in need, because this is a great country. We aspired for greatness. We did okay. And I'd like, you know, I'm an old fuck. Like, I just had a baby, and like, if I reach out to people, it's like, well, what do you want? You know, versus you on your daily routine, you know, could whip up a wiffle ball game in 5 minutes, you know? So I want you to put together a group of Italian-American thought leaders, and I'll give the mic to you that day. The New Theory podcast will be yours, and you can lead the discussion. But I do want to have a discussion with Italian-American thought leaders that you choose. And it could be with an African-American. It could be with other communities on the podcast. But the reason why I want to hone in the Italian-American community is I feel like we can do more, and I don't know exactly how, other than the micro level of supporting businesses. So if we can get to people that have a good following, that we all get together, exchange ideas, that is time well spent. Is a challenge accepted, my friend?
Let's do it.
All right. So give us our and again. So you see, we came a long way. I'm in front of Starbucks. We now have a video podcast, and you know what sucks, Lorenzo, in a way, is like I had some former mafia guys on, and it sucks because like I have those guys on, and I'll get like 10,000 views in a week, but I have like a great Italian American local business owner on, and I'll get 320. So it's like it's just. Like it sucks. So we got to change the narrative even with our own community. It's not as important because I think we have bigger fish to fry, but even with our own community, I do feel that the narrative does have to be adjusted a bit,
Sure. I agree with that. I feel like Italian Americans could support each other a little bit better.
That's a whole nother one. All right, brother. So give me your closing thoughts before we conclude.
Yeah. I mean, I sit here and I can challenge everyone else too of doing something that's to move this world in a better place. Take it to that's my challenge for everyone watching this, no matter what I'm doing or whatever my agenda is going to be.
So, Lorenzo, how can we find you nowadays?
You can follow me at Modern Day Italian. That's my Instagram, Facebook, Lorenzo Abbatiello, even Modern Day Italian up there. I'm going to be posting stuff through this next month. I'm going to really get into the Italian community over here in Rhode Island on Federal Hill. So you can stay tuned to that and watch how my contribution to the community, that'll be one of them, is what I'm going to do along there. But I want to take on your challenge also of doing something with the Black Lives Matters as well.
I'm still seeing, I haven't done any actionable items specifically, so it's easy for me to dole it out, but I'm also thinking what I can do. So I'm going to accept the challenge on myself. So next time we speak, I'll hopefully have something to share. So Lorenzo, listen, thank you for being on the Theory podcast, and let's do it, my friend.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you for letting me use this platform to to express myself during this,
My pleasure.